Hey guys, welcome back to the Avengers Archive, where we analyze the origins of Marvel characters. Today's Marvel character will be the 3D Man. The 3D Man was a 1950s hero who came about through the unique merger of two brothers, Hal and Chuck Chandler. Chuck was a test pilot who was abducted by alien Skrulls during an important test flight. The Skrulls were seeking information about Earth's space program, seeing it as a strategic location in their ongoing conflict against the alien Kree Empire, and had taken Chuck captive for interrogation. Chuck resisted and escaped, inadvertently causing the explosion of the Skrull spacecraft in the process. As the radiation from the explosion seemingly disintegrated Chuck, he disappeared in a burst of light while his brother Hal watched. Hal later discovered that the light burst had imprinted an image of Chuck on each lens of Hal's eyeglasses. By concentrating, Hal could merge the images and cause Chuck to reappear as a three-dimensional man. Chuck became the costumed adventurer known as the 3D Man and single-handedly subverted the Skrulls' early attempts to undermine earthly civilization. Hal would remain comatose whenever the 3D Man was active, but remained aware of the 3D Man's activities through a mental link. Later, a Skrull's ray weapon altered the transformation so that Hal was the 3D Man's dominant consciousness for some time. Both brothers' minds seemed to be present in the 3D Man at all times, but only one of them, usually Chuck, would be in conscious control of the 3D Man's form on any given occasion. During Chuck's career as 3D Man, we know that he encountered and stopped Vince Rivers, influenced by Skrulls at a rock concert, and later one of his more notable villains, the Cold Warrior. The Cold Warrior, otherwise known as Dr. Eric Sienkiewicz, was once approached by a Skrull disguised as Richard Nixon so that they could get a hand on his project, which could allow the human body to have special abilities through carefully controlled temperature changes. The experiment was a success, and Dr. Sienkiewicz was tricked by the Skrull that 3D Man was actually a communist spy. So, Dr. Sienkiewicz, now known as the Cold Warrior, decided to venture out and take down the 3D Man with his new powers. It started to rain and thunder outside, and the lightning caused this device that Hal had retrieved from Vince Rivers to start beeping. Hal summons the 3D Man, but because of a Skrull that zapped the 3D Man after his encounter with Vince, Hal had control of the 3D Man instead of Chuck. The hero went toward the beeping device led him, and there was the Cold Warrior waiting for him. They fought, but the Cold Warrior lost, and the Skrull was mad at his failure. After a short career as a costumed adventurer, Hal retired the 3D Man, partly to start a family, but mostly because he was afraid that his brother's consciousness might somehow be lost during these periods when Hal himself was the 3D Man's dominant consciousness. Thus, Hal settled into a career as a research scientist, married Chuck's old girlfriend, and raised two sons. He had only activated the 3D Man twice in recent years, with the main one being to fight a rampaging Hulk to defend his family. During this time, as 3D Man, Chuck seemed to be its dominant consciousness again. While fighting the Hulk, Chuck was mad that Hal had kept him hidden in the glasses for so long. Chuck also got beaten pretty badly by the Hulk. More recently, Hal had been getting this strange compulsion to go to the Himalayan mountains in India. He did not know it, but a powerful mystical artifact was beckoning him. The artifact was a pyramid-shaped shard of light, one of three such shards that were created by the universe in reaction to the presence of pure evil that was cast adrift in this dimension by the extra-dimensional gods known as the Trion. One of these shards was captured by the Skrulls, who had abducted Chuck Chandler, and his energies had merged with Chuck in creating the 3D Man. Chandler also heard the call of the other shard and mounted an expedition to find it. He was betrayed, however, by Jonathan Tremont, one of the guides on that expedition, who claimed the shard for himself. Hal was held captive by Tremont for many years, while Tremont utilized the power of his shard to create the religious organization called the Triune Understanding. Tremont had learned of the shard's true origin and wished to utilize the understanding in putting an end to the threat of the Trion's cast-off evil, which he referred to as the Triple Evil. Tremont also continued to seek out alternate weapons against the Triple Evil. Using the power of the Shard that was internalized in Hal Chandler, he released the powers within a new follower, Delroy Garrett Jr., to create the superhuman champion, Triathlon. Unbeknownst to him, Triathlon had the best of both Hal and Chuck within him. Finally, Tremont and the hero team, Avengers, which by now included Triathlon in their ranks, battled the Triple Evil and the aliens it had corrupted. Tremont felt that he could indeed master the power of the Triple Evil, use it for himself to become a god, and then reward himself with dominion over all the Earth. Instead, Triathlon found the remaining shard and combining it with the power inside him, as personified in the 3D Man, wrested control of the shard being used by Tremont. The Triathlon, Hal Chandler, and Chuck Chandler amalgamation appeared using all three shards and was able to destroy the Triple Evil. The Triathlon 3D Man used the pyramid that once housed the Triple Evil to return the Avengers to Earth, now conquered by the time-traveling Kang. Using the power of the pyramid, channeling the energies of all those who fell to its assault for millennia, they fought back, and ultimately Kang was defeated. Triathlon returned to Peggy Chandler, separating himself from Hal and Chuck and restoring both of them to physical form. Triathlon found his triple powers had remained, although Hal and Chuck no longer possessed the power to transform into 3D Man. Hal and Chuck then had various other interactions with Delroy Garrett Jr., and Delroy Garrett took on the mantle of the new 3D Man and became a significant character in the later Secret Invasion storyline. Delroy Garrett also donned the old 3D Man suit and was even given the old flight suit and goggles by Chuck Chandler, which he incorporated into his outfit. Also, before we wrap up this video, just to note, in various other timelines, there's a team of Avengers formed in the 50s called the Avengers, before disbanding at the request of the president, but the public wasn't ready to learn of them and their exploits. The 3D Man was part of that short-lived Avengers team, and their rescue of the president from Yellow Claw helped dispel the 3D Man's reputation as a dangerous outlaw thanks to the president's influence. He was also a brief part of the Contest of Champions storyline, but that remained insignificant in 3D Man's origin story. Now, really quickly before we wrap this up, let's go into what are 3D Man's powers. That's what the segment will be called. 3D Man's powers are 3 times his powers, or 3 times his physical abilities before, meaning that if he could run an 8-minute mile, then he could suddenly run 3 times quicker. He also had a distinct ability to detect scrolls. Now, when he would detect scrolls, originally, it was only it being able to sense them, but Delroy Garrett later is able to completely see through their disguises. So that ability is a little bit confusing. Now, thank you guys so much for watching through this entire video, and leave in the comments, would you guys like to see the origin story of Delroy Garrett Jr. next? That'd be a very interesting one for me to pursue, and I'd love to get to understand the character better, even if I already kind of know his character from this. Either way, that doesn't matter. Either way, thank you for watching, and check out the channel and tune in to another video. Peace.